Welcome to another exciting or maybe just week of Psych Thoughts. We're glad you're joining us. Don't forget, if you like what you see here today, subscribe to our channel. If you don't like what you see here today, subscribe to our channel. Share it with people. That'll be a great thing. As always, I'm Derrick. I'm one of the co-hosts, and I'm joined by my best friend, co-host, colleague, person, human, male, Doug. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing fine, Derrick. That's a fantastic intro. The only thing you left off was Intro to Psychology's GOAT, greatest of all time.
Or goat that you'll eat anything. I don't know which one.
That's the truth of it. As you can see, I'm broadcasting live from a new location.
We decided to mix it up today. It's nice.
I know. I decided I'd come back here and broadcast from my office here at the abandoned university.
It's very Mad Max TTU right now.
It really is. It's kind of like the zombie apocalypse has happened. There's no one here. So, but, I see you're broadcasting from the pool hall.
I'm broadcasting from the pool hall. On the summers when I'm trying to make a little extra money, I actually hustle for a living. So in the words of a very wise person, every day I'm hustling. Hustling.
There you go.
There you go. We're joined by our intern, meaning we don't have to pay her. Don't tell her that she doesn't have to do that anymore. And her name's Elaine. Elaine, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you? You guys look much more exciting places than I'm in. For those people that don't like change, it's the same.
Much like last week, I enjoy the Olin Mills background that you've got going on. It's nice. I'm hoping
I can adjust my light too, you know.
Oh, look at that.
I like that one. That does look, it does look like one of those, you're going to have an Olin Mills family.
Yeah, at some point they're going to have you turn sideways.
Look, look over here.
And then I have that superimposed face of Doug or Derrick in the background.
Now, Doug and I had our picture made in an Olin Mills pose for Tech's yearbook. That was probably 2014.
I don't remember.
Doug?
I don't remember. I just remember that because we were in the UC and they were taking the pictures and we went over there for a lark. I don't know if they ever got in the annual or not.
I have the picture still, but I don't know if.
Picture?
Yeah.
How did you get the picture?
I think I downloaded the proof instead of purchasing
the package.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like something I would have done. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
So now you're looking for it.
I'm not seeing it right here.
And that should prove to all of our viewers out there that these people, they're not that way on campus. Yes, we are. So what you see is
it was a good picture. I mean, it was a great picture of us.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I never saw it. You never share with me anymore.
Sorry.
That's what we need to do.
Ever
we need
since
to have,
you moved
family
out,
pictures.
That was pre-move out days before you left.
That was pre-move out days. That's for sure.
So, hey, when did you move out? Did you move out this year?
Yeah.
That's
over Christmas break.
That's why 2020 has been the way it is.
That's a thought.
We got separated and it just went.
The end of the world.
End of the world.
I'm probably not going to move back in. I do want you to know that.
I hope you don't. Because that means something bad has happened.
Then Doug would have to give up his new couch.
That's right. So.
I found some pictures.
Of us?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I have an idea. We'll let the viewers into our world for a moment.
Okay. This would be great. I haven't seen it since we had the picture made.
Well, I didn't find that picture.
Oh.
This does kind of sound like how our meetings go before and after recording, though.
Oh. This sounds like, I hope it's an appropriate picture.
It says I'm not allowed to share my screen.
Only the person that's our intern can do that.
Sorry about that.
Oops.
It's a cool picture.
We'll set it up for next time.
Too late now. I'm over it.
See, she can log us off, mute us, whatever. She's in control.
I have the control.
She has the control.
I found Duff and Dagels.
Since we've wasted enough time of everybody's viewers, we gotta have a topic to talk about.
Well, you're in charge today.
Oh, I am. Well, let's talk about the Kruger, the Kruger Minuta effect,
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know that effect better than anyone else.
No, I know it. And I think I pronounced it correctly too.
Dunning-Kruger?
No, yeah, maybe. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something very similar to that is what you said, I remember.
I think that I was thinking of topics for us to talk about, and it amazes me in this day and time how common sense has went out the window. I mean, it is no one's thinking straight. No one goes critical thinking skills. I don't have those. I don't need those. And we see people making just the most horrendous mistakes, but yet they're pretty positive they're correct.
Oh yeah.
And what people don't realize, and if you Google this or if you watch the rest of this video, you'll learn that it's actually an effect, And I just a sidebar once again, me and you've got to come up with something. The Edwards Hensley effect. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, that would be cool. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it would be. It'd probably be like an inability to grasp the fact that no one watches a radio show is known as the Edwards Hensley effect.
I think, I actually gave it some mind. I think it would be people who drive aggressively but yet don't honk but think they're okay.
I can't believe you'd bring that up. I don't have road rage, Doug. I have Doug rage right now. I'll tell you that much.
You get a little angry. You drive aggressively. No, what was it you said one time? You drive aggressively.
Aggressively.
Which is not road rage.
No, I'm not angry.
Well, I'm not angry neither.
You are angry. You rolled my window down in my car to yell at someone. That's anger. Like there's no way. There's not a way to say I'm not angry when you yell mean things at an old lady.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't an old lady. And
she was.
Second of all, you got to keep in mind that I believe that society's woes can be healed through operant conditioning. And if I'm not giving some kind of negative reinforcement out there, people can continue to do what they're doing.
Well, technically, you're trying to give her positive punishment instead of negative reinforcement. It's not like you took her car payment away from her. But
I want that kind of negative punishment.
That's a positive reinforcement. Just take my pills from me.
You see, that's not it. That's not it. So Dunning-Kruger, how would you define it?
Who, me? It's
He's the one that knows all of it.
Well, it goes without saying. Basically, it's the. What are you laughing about? You put me on the spot all of a sudden. It's basically where people, intelligent people, who because a lot of people think it's people that's not intelligent, but it can happen to either one. They come to a conclusion and they keep thinking they're correct when they're not. It's almost like, no, I'm right. It's correct. It almost makes me think that what they did is they took the concept of groupthink and just distilled it down to one person.
Shrunk it,
and that's kind of what we see.
But now most of us are guilty of this, aren't we? We believe that we're correct. So then something that we talked about on last episode, we feel this unnecessary burden to enlighten the others around us that we are indeed correct, and bless their little hearts. They don't know that they're wrong. I'll go ahead and correct them.
Okay, here's a couple of things I want you to think about and for us to discuss here. I was reading something the other day about developmental, and then I was working my group dynamics lecture, and I came across the social psychologist who came up with cognitive dissonance. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he was also big into social comparison, how we will compare ourselves to others in order to go, okay, where do I belong? Well, let me look at these people. Well, those people are like me. And I wonder if we kind of drift into a little bit of social comparison when we think that, well, I know what I'm talking about. Let me explain this to those people, let me bring them to my level.
And then we surround ourselves with people who are affirming of the way we think. so that we're in this in group with the enlightened folks.
Now, is it because they're enlightened or because they're scared?
Is there a difference?
I don't know.
Well, now it brings to mind, and you have to ask, do we make this mistake more now than we used to? Because I tell my students all the time in intro that I tell them, I go, I want to teach y'all something that you've been taught is a dirty word, and you should never, ever say it. And it is, I'm wrong. Because we kind of tell people, don't admit that you're wrong, all these other things. But yet, if you don't know if you're wrong, how do you know where to go? If you don't make a mistake, how can you correct it? Like if you're trying to bake a cake and you make one and it's horrible and you go, well, I need to do that over. Maybe I did it wrong. How can you improve?
Yeah.
But now I see that it seems to be more of a, oh, well, I'm right. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what you have to show me. I'm right. And it kind of brings me back to a documentary that I once watched. I'm intrigued with the fact that a pretty good percentage of the population believe the world is flat. Okay. In 2000, I think it was 2017, they had a convention of 3,000 people of flat earths. And the reason I think about that now and about admitting that we're wrong and people becoming just really adamant about their beliefs is this physicist was saying, we don't communicate our thoughts well with others. And he goes, when someone goes, I believe the earth is flat, we instantly go, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Are you a moron? And he goes, how do you educate somebody? Think if you were in school and Elaine goes, I go, Elaine, what's 2 + 2? And she goes, 5. And I go, that's the stupidest thing. You're a moron. He goes, we need to open a more dialogue to people and go, okay, if that's what you believe, tell me why, and let me give you some of my ideas. Instead of, we go on the defensive. And I think once we go on the defensive, no matter what you believe, it becomes, I'm going to hold on to this. It becomes more of a competition, so to speak. And that would kind of go back to what Elaine said about being scared. I don't want to be like I was wrong and seem foolish. So I'm just going to go, I'm just going to play it by ear. So.
Now, one thing I noticed, because I don't know if you guys read the study. I did. Well, okay, I'll admit I only read like half of it. But they concluded at one point, because with the Dunning-Kruger effect being an overestimation of how smart you are and how much you know and how right you are, they concluded that actually what helps that with people that overestimate their intelligence is by educating them in the areas that they think they're overestimating themselves in, and actually educate them in their area, and then they realize that they're not quite as smart as they thought they were in that area.
Yeah, I see that a lot in some psychology courses, especially courses that sound deceptively simple, like Introduction to Therapeutic Techniques, right? Since I was a kid, everybody's asking me what to do, and then they take a class on therapeutic techniques and they're like, oh, I don't know anything about this. You don't have to go very far to push yourself beyond what you know. It's one YouTube video away from going, I might be a moron. Which is what I can't stand about this 4.2 out of a 4.0 GPA coming from high school. Like, it blows my mind that we would want to convince a child that they are better than perfect. And like, oh, Timmy took some dual enrollment classes. No one cares. Like,
bless you.
Why is that worth more? He did something.
I've got COVID-9.
I forgot.
It's not as severe, but yet it's on the scale. It's on the continuum.
It's up there.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Is that along the lines of somebody being 110 or 150% anything like positive? Because that just drives me insane. I hate that saying. I'm 110% sure. You can't be 110% sure.
Yeah, that one's up there with the word literally in my book. I literally mean this. No, you don't. You're actually saying it figuratively. And that's the definition of literally. And usually those kids are the ones who have the 4.2, and it makes me want to strike them. And I know that that's not healthy, but I can't stand. Why are we lying to these kids? Most people are not perfect. Most people are a C, and that's okay. I think it's even worse when someone comes out of a university with a 4.0. Are we convinced that they're the top 2.5% of all disciplines, right? Is that what we're convincing ourselves of? And I think that's ridiculous. And I can't bear to think that someone's tying their worth to that, because
At least
they're
I
going
don't
to
have to worry about that. I know I'm not
right.
a 4.0.
Yep.
You know, I got to remember is what I was told once. If you're number one, you have to push yourself all the time to stay that. And if you're number two, you have to push yourself because you're not that far away from being number one. That's why I'm number three. You don't really have to try that hard, and you can just skate along.
And you got nowhere to go but up.
That's right. I mean, but that's a hard concept to learn because, I meet, I talk to kids and stuff all the time, and they get hung up on grades. And I'm like, do you know what they call the person that graduates med school with the lowest GPA? And they go, what?
Doctor.
I go, doctor. And I know Derrick can back me up on this. He's probably interviewed people before for a job. And I tell students, your job, they're not going to look at your diploma and go, oh, you've got a 4.9. That's impressive. The only thing your job really is concerned about is your degree legit? Or did you just go, oh, yes, I do have a degree from Harvard. Just don't call them and check it out. I mean, I've never interviewed somebody and looked at their transcript and went, oh, you made a C in Doug's class? Well, we can't hire you. I mean, I don't know. But to get back to what we're talking about, I got thinking too, there's a concept in group dynamics and also in business, I think it's called the Peter principle, that you rise up in management. Like, okay, Elaine, you did really well managing Doug and Derrick. We're going to promote you to managing, Dr. Wilcox. Well, you did okay there. Then we're going to move you up to managing to the next level. And what they say in business is that you'll reach a point that you're no longer productive, that you don't know what you're doing. And they tell you, you meet people in jobs. I've met people in jobs that I'm like, obviously your father or your wife or somebody you've married to got you this position because you really don't know. We have to understand that we all have limitations. You have to know what your limitations are. And it really,
I like the idea of the Peter principle because I think it explains a lot of people you and I have worked for, not at the university, right? I think that's important to note.
Oh, I could give plenty of examples of people I've worked for in construction that have that.
Yeah, Doug and I came from like industry side of the world, so we haven't always worked at a university. I'm blown away that I don't clock in like it. I don't understand it.
That's me. I expect somebody to come by or come in. Oh, I just check and see if you was here. Clocked in. And you were 5 minutes late.
It's really nice, but we do see those people who elevate themselves to a level. But I'm wondering if that's not what our society does also. I spent some time around things that were funded by county governments, and it seems like the trend is every year that agency or that department will ask for 10 to 15% more than the previous year. This couldn't be any more true than like Department of Education in some small town county, which takes up the vast majority of all tax dollars that are taken in by that same county. Why is it that every year we need to make more or do more or have more? And what I think we often find is that we collapse on ourselves. Much like the Peter principle says, we are promoted to a level of incompetence where we fail. We eventually strive for more and more and more that we fail in that same type of way. I look at public education right now, with several schools choosing not to come back based on COVID-19, yet all the while saying, oh, no, but we still need the largest majority of your tax dollars every year. Don't pay any attention to K-12 online that's free. Don't look at that. You need to come to our county hybrid program. But we get promoted to a level of incompetence, and at some point education has become so ubiquitous that it doesn't even become feasible any longer. And I see this time and time again, whether a business or else. I like the mom and pop restaurant. There's one of them, and they're not going to have another one. You could go in and you can be like, would you like to start a chain? Food is amazing. And they're like, no, we're good. Like, this is where we want to be. I think it speaks to being satisfied with what you have and where you are.
It also goes back to what I said, knowing your limitations. And it has to do with that. I mean, if anybody's watching that's from my neck of the woods from East Tennessee, in Knoxville, they had a contest to say what was the best pizza. And the number 2 best pizza in Knoxville was a pizza place that's in Oak Ridge known as Big Ed's. And Big Ed's is an institution, and it's a mom and pop kind of pizza place. And they asked him years ago, hey, you do a great job, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you, let's make a chain? And he's like, hey, I make enough money. I don't need to. And he never changed. I mean, it's one of the most iconic things. It's great to go there. It's no thrills, So there's a shout out. I will say,
as a little bit of a shout out for, Doug and I, and Elaine, you're from around here, aren't you? Like,
originally, no, but I've lived here for the last decade.
So no, you're not from here. You're a foreigner.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm curious at this point.
I was born and raised in South Carolina until I was about 16, and then moved to Idaho, and then moved to Oregon, and then back to South Carolina, and then back to Oregon, and then back to North Carolina, and then back to Tennessee.
So you've been on the run from the federal government for a while then, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Okay.
This isn't my real face.
A video program is probably not your strong suit in this protection program.
What is she worried about? No one watches this anyway.
That's fair.
That's true.
That's fair. I don't even watch.
That's because you have problems watching yourself.
I do. Those of us who are from around here, I think we'll all have this kind of a similar sentiment, and I want to share that with you, especially during times where governors, mayors, and politicians have a lot of power to choose which businesses will make it and which won't. It's really important that we look at those. I think you said the name of that pizza joint in Oak Ridge was Ed's, right? Big Ed's. Look, we need to order pizza from Big Ed's, and we're not getting any money from that. But Domino's is going to be all right. Big Ed's might.
Well, there you go. Never speak ill of Domino's. They'll wipe you off the map there. We like Domino's, so please let Derrick come back. Hey, buddy, are you back?
I'm back. What happened?
You froze.
You started talking ill of Domino's, and they reached out with that corporate arm. And
Yeah, it's worse if you talk about Papa John's. They just, I'd have never came back.
Even blackballed then. I think that one of the things we probably need to stress is that everybody has the potential to suffer from this effect. I mean, we really do. And I think that some of the things we should think about to overcome this problem is we need to be open to other people's ideals and listen to them. And even when we're explaining stuff to other people, to keep it rational and calm, and also, when we talk about critical thinking skills, which nobody has anymore, one of the big things they tell you is to know everybody has a bias. I'm biased about something. Derrick's biased about something. Elaine's biased about. You got to keep that in mind. If I'm telling you this is the greatest thing in the world, then you got to go, well, hold on now, And I think that you need to kind of keep yourself rooted into that, and that keeps you from making that error, and starting to think that, well, I'm just going to educate everybody. They don't know what they're talking about.
The opposite of Dunning-Kruger is humility, right?
Right.
So start each dialogue with someone with the internal dialogue of they may be right and I may be wrong, so let's listen. Because at the end of the day, if you're right and they're wrong, we hope they have that same mentality, right?
Right.
And if they never believe you, it's okay. Like it'll be fine. You don't have to get mad if someone doesn't believe you. It, you're gonna be all right. I promise. It's good to be heard, right? But validation and affirmation may not be everything that you need in life. You might need a little bit more, like a little bit of humility.
Well,
So that's the Dunning-Kruger. Obviously, Doug, Elaine, and I know more about this than anybody, so we feel really obligated to teach you about what. No, right? This is just a conversation. Stop yelling on social media trying to prove your point. Start listening to people, and we might pull out of maybe an election year with some good stories instead of some horrible stories. No matter what happens in November, I have a good feeling we're going to be okay. So let's just breathe and recognize that we still need to have dialogue, and conflict will never go away. Conflict's a part of human existence. Doug, what do you want to close with?
Well, always make sure that you do that, because if not, you might run into a person like me, because this is the evil part of Doug. When I worked construction, I never told anybody about my degrees. And when someone would start telling me something or explaining something to me, I would say, well, I just barely got a high school education. And I would just they would just instantly go, I need to explain to you. And it was one of the best stories I ever had is we got a new engineer that came to work, nuclear engineer. And she come by my office and she started asking me a question about something, and I answered it. And she said, well, you know a lot about that. And I went, I'm just lucky. I just got a high school degree. And she went on this 20-minute explanation. She got done, felt really proud about herself, went back to her office, and she was talking to her boss. And she said, well, that guy's kind of smart, but for a high school education, he got ticketed. He goes, he's got more degrees than most you. She goes, really? And I go, yeah, I kind of do that to see what people will say, Because, if people think they're superior to you, they instantly go, well, let me explain something.
Which,
we need to
Doug,
educate you.
That's a really good lesson for if you are that person with a degree, you still need to be a little humble and have some humility, right?
That's
because
right.
You're not the only one who went to school, I promise. And you're going to make a fool of yourself, and you don't want to do that.
Hey,
I make a fool of myself every day, but that's so we can get all these sponsorships that Psychthoughts
right.
has.
We have what? We're getting close to, what is it, 250,000 subscribers now?
Yeah, we're right at it, quarter of a million. And that feels pretty good. So if you want to be trendy, you should really send us. You could get on the ground floor of this, and you could tell people you watch Psychthoughts when it was before it became super famous, because in like another month, everybody's going to be sending us to their friends. So yeah, that won't even be special anymore.
I know, we'll be famous then.
You can set the trend.
You can be the trend setter, and we're at a critical point here. So be sure to send this. If you like what we're doing, subscribe. If you don't like what we're doing, subscribe anyway.
Right.
What's the worst case thing that'll happen? Doug and I don't send emails to your inbox, right? So if you go to some website and they're like, we use cookies, and you click yes, then you're probably a subscriber of us. Like, we're just a cookie. So just subscribe to us. You'll get an alert that says we posted a new show. It happens once a week. Is that a bad thing? No, you don't even have to watch it, and we still get benefits from it. So that'll help.
And we're so young in the infancy that you could actually put a comment or say, could you talk about this? And who knows? We might just give a shout out and say, this came in from so-and-so, and they want to know about. So.
Yeah, you can find us on social media. Elaine handles all of that for us. And then she'll tell us that we need to respond, and we will, because it's not that we don't care. It's just that we're not competent. So there's a difference that happens there.
We know our limitations.
So from Psychthoughts, it's been another week. We're glad you're with us. If you're one of those people who watches every week, man, we love you. Honey, we know that you're watching. We love you a whole bunch. That's for sure. Send us an email, psychthoughts@tentech.edu. That's Psychthoughts, all one word, TNTECH psych.edu. Find us on the Facebooks or the Insta chat or whatever, and get to know us. We want to get to know you. But that's all for me, Doug. Elaine?
Nope, I got nothing else.
What do you want me to say?
See you
See
next
us on
week.
campus. Ask for an autograph.
Ask for an autograph. Bye.
See y'all.